Hello, Georgina. Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Rodrigo Fonseca. I'm based in Brazil, in São Paulo, Brazil. Working for DSM for 14 years now. November this year will be 15 years. Always in the IT department. More recently, in the last few years, as a project manager.
Your work during the pandemic?
It was, I have to say, there was some positive things and some negative things. I think like everything in life, right? To get everybody together in a meeting room to discuss it and then move on to the next one, then plan another meeting and so on. What I see now happening is that because we are forced to work on a digital way of nowadays, there is a lot of parallel discussions. I'm a project manager. We're using a more fancy word nowadays, asynchronously, right? But I do see a lot of discussions happening in parallel. So people are talking while they're in the meeting, they are talking via WhatsApp, and then they are talking in Teams in a separate window, and then things are moving faster. And in this collaboration within a project environment, this is a must. This is everything that we always dreamed about. So that's a positive side of it.
So you mentioned two technologies there, two software pieces. One was Microsoft Teams and the other was WhatsApp. Mm-hmm. So can you take me, how long did it really become comfortable for your team, so to speak, to use Microsoft Teams? And what tips do you have about using Microsoft Teams?
That's a good one, Georgina. I always thought about Teams as a chat communication tool.
Right.
And that's how everybody uses it, and I think everybody's familiar with. And if you ask everybody, I think within DSM today, everybody knows Teams. What I've learned during the pandemic is that you can still learn a lot about Teams. They are very nice, cool functionalities, and for my IT, I like cool new stuff, right? To learn cool new stuff. But I did learn during this pandemic with other colleagues to how to share best to share files better, how to invite other people to call the attention for a specific conversation topic you are having, how to collaborate better using Teams. Nowadays we have this breakout sessions functionality. I haven't used it yet, but it's a new functionality I will learn soon. So we do have cool functionalities within Teams that I learned during the pandemic. And I think
no longer use email. Is that right?
No, unfortunately not, Georgina. Unfortunately, I still use emails.
Right.
I think that's one of the hurdles that we have, is that although a lot of people have embraced this new way of working, using different ways to collaborate, we still have some people using the old-fashioned way of collaborating. And you cannot just force them, right? So, and especially in a project environment, what you want to do is to achieve is the result. Doesn't matter the tool you're using. So if within the team you still have some people using the old-fashioned way of collaborating, sometimes I still have to use emails. I still have to use telephone calls, normal telephone calls, not Teams calls. I think with time, these ones will be also using the new way of working. So I think we are in between this stage, you know.
You mentioned asynchronous working. Can you describe what that means so that people really are on the same page with what that means?
Yeah, well, basically it's discussions. How can I say this? For me, asynchronously working means you use the time that you are together to discuss topics that you cannot discuss offline. So if you need to share a status report, for example, that you're good just reading the document, you don't need to be with everybody in the same meeting to just reading text that can be read offline. What you can do is that you share this document before people read it on their own time, and then you take the time that you are together to discuss the hurdles that you're facing, or discuss the next steps, or things that you need collaboration, instant collaboration to move on. That's how I see it.
That's what you mean. Okay, great. So with Microsoft Teams, you use it for chat, you use it for file sharing. What other tips would you give people? Are there any other apps that you would build into Microsoft Teams to help facilitate it as a tool for the team?
Yeah, Office 365 has many other tools, right? Available that we can all from DSM we can use. Everybody from DSM can use. And they can all be integrated in Teams. So you can always have OneNote, for example. I think a lot of people, they're not familiar with OneNote. I use it a lot. All the notes that I take, regardless if a small meeting or a big meeting, I always taking notes on OneNote, and I can always find them afterwards. And that can be easily integrated in Teams. So if you create a team for your Teams site or group for your team, you can always have a OneNote page to record your meeting notes or next steps or whatever. Planner can be integrated in Teams as well. It's a nice tool that not so many people know also. More recently, I'm using more and more Whiteboard. I think the tool itself is not perfect. There are some improvements. Microsoft can improve it, but it's quite visual. I mean, when you are doing post-its discussions, when you used to have a meeting room that you can go and have post-its,
yeah,
which was a challenge, by the way, in the past, because having a meeting room that you can put your post-its there and then have to collect all of them afterwards for the next
that's also
group
a
to come
challenge.
to the call. That was always a challenge, right? So with Whiteboard, using this functionalities, this post-it functionality is quite visual, and that's really nice. So that's,
and then it's saved in your team meeting.
And you can always save it in a team meeting and or have it on Teams available for you to check afterwards. So Teams is really, what I like about Teams is really a connection between different solutions within the Microsoft Office 365, let's say, platform.
Okay, so you mentioned it seems that we're in a transition. So we're in a transition of working the old way and working the new way. So what would you say to people that are sort of a bit in between and are a bit, where do I start? How do I get used to this new way of working?
I'll give you one recent example. I was talking to a colleague 2 days ago, and then she had a file to share with me. She shared screen and we were looking at the file and so on. And then I said, "Hey, why don't you? Okay, that's that. I think that's good now. Save it on our Teams folder. Then we can share with the rest of the group." And she told me, "No, I'm not familiar with this kind of things. I'll share it via email." To be inclusive, I didn't disagree with her. I said, "Fine, whatever is best for you. But let me just show you how I do." And then I shared my screen and said, "No, look, this here, they put it, this folder here, save here, upload here, that's it." 2 days later, so yesterday, so that was 3 days ago. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with her, and for my surprise, she saved the file on the right place that I was expecting to be saved.
Oh, great!
Great. I was actually expecting an email from her. She didn't send me. And then when talking to her, I said, "No, the file is there already on the location." So I think slowly people you'll see the advantage of using it, and that's when you get it, when you start using, when you see an advantage for yourself, not because other people asked you to do, but when you start sharing these benefits and people realizing these benefits, I think that's when they will be all into the new way of working. Yeah.
So you are naturally more interested in technology and digital, but obviously you're always learning about new technology and digital. So how do you go about that?
You know, although I work for my team, I've seen colleagues from other departments much more digital than I am.
Okay, so what does that look like?
And it's quite nice. I really like it. I really believe that the more digital everybody in the other departments are, the better for the person, firstly, but also for DSM. Digital doesn't mean IT.
No.
And what I honestly like to learn from those colleagues. from logistics, from operations. And I just be honest with them, say, hey, thank you for sharing with me this. I just learned something from you, which I'm going to use as of now.
So if you were to put your digital skills on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put them?
Ooh, well, if I compare with some other colleagues from DSM that I've seen, I would say, I don't know, I'll be a little bit humble there. I would say 6 or 7. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay, that's very humble.
Yeah. You can always learn much more, so that's why.
You can always learn.
The more you know, the more you know that you don't know.
True, that's very, very true.
Yeah.
So if you were looking at your work today and you could imagine a digital solution, what to make your work life easier, what would it be?
I think one struggle that we face in DSM is when you look at projects, my day-to-day work.
Right.
When you look at projects, one struggle that we have is to consolidate all the information, consolidate, let's say not information, but let's consolidate information related to projects on a simple way for different reasons, right? I think when you want to see a simple view of how are we doing all the projects within DSM, it's a nightmare. There's so many tools, so many different ways of working, so many platforms to combine all this information into one central repository. It's a nightmare nowadays.
Right.
I would try. I don't have a solution for this, but I would try to find a way to combine the different information stored in different places into a central solution in an easy one. Yeah, in an easy way to not to duplicate work, but to reuse the work that was done already.
Right.
Yeah, not an easy one, but I would go.
That's an interesting challenge. And what about in your personal life? If you had a digital tool, what would you want it to solve?
That's an interesting good one. I don't know. I think I'm quite organized on my work related activities because we have all these tools like the Outlook, reminders, to-do lists, analytics in Outlook and whatever. I would have these tools available on my personal life, to remind me that by 10 o'clock my baby has to eat banana. And that my daughter has to go to do the classes specific homework. I would be more.
You need an automated schedule. It sounds like.
Yeah, I think I need some support, some digital support on my personal agenda.
Okay. And so, do you have any last-minute tips for DSM employees with digital and coping with everything in the digital world now? Great.
I do. Be curious.
Be curious.
Yeah, be curious. I think there is so much information available out there, so much, and maybe too much, that if you're just a little bit curious, you'll find a way to resolve your problem, your hurdle, your opportunity, whatever you call it. You'll find a way. There is going to these communities and just place a question there. There's so many people willing. Yeah, so many people willing to help. That I find it surprising. They don't get anything for this, and they're just willing to help. So you just have to be courageous and to place a question there.
Right. Okay.
That's something I like recently. Anyway.
Thank you so much for your time today. It was really lovely to speak to you, and I look forward to speaking to you again.
Thank you, Georgina. Same here.
Thank you. Bye, Rodrigo.
Bye-bye.
Bye.